Hello and welcome back to the Code Me event channel. My name is Gabor Szabo, and this time I took a look at a project called the Algorithms. So if you take a look at the screen, you will see that this is a GitHub project that I found. Actually, the Algorithms is the name of the organization inside GitHub, and in that project there are several Git these repositories. So these are implementations of various algorithms in programming, in the computer science basically. And each Git repository is a set of implementation in some specific programming language. So you can see there is a Python one, a Java one, Go, and other languages as well. And this project also has a website called Algorithms, which, well, I looked at briefly, but that wasn't really the part that was interesting for me at this point. So what I looked at is I was interested in how these algorithms are actually tested, verified, that they do the right thing, the correct thing. So I looked at the Python project, and in here at the bottom, I saw that in the README file there is actually a link to a directory where all the algorithms are listed. So if you're interested in the implementation of various algorithms in Python, then you can look at them here. And in here I found one that seemed easy, so that's why I picked that one, the binary AND operator, because some of the others can be quite complex. So what you can see here in this one is a single function called binary AND, which is the implementation of the binary AND. And in this you will have a triple quoted string, which has various examples or how to run the function, and then what is the result. So because this is the first string immediately after the definition of the function, this is going to be the documentation of the function whenever you are converting into some kind of a documentation. So people who are reading the documentation of the function can just copy paste examples from here on one hand. On the other hand, this is the doctest style testing or example. So doctest, what it does, when you run it, it will go over all the functions that you have in the file, and in this case we have only one function, and then we'll find anywhere where you have these triple greater than signs, which is the same as the prompt of the interactive shell, and then execute whatever it finds here immediately after the triple greater than signs, and check whether the result of this execution is the same that's written below. And so you can see a couple of examples with correct input and a couple of examples with incorrect input, like -1 or a floating point number, and then which will generate an exception. So what this doctest does is runs the code and runs the code with the input that you can see, and then verifies that the output is the same as you can see here. So basically it checks whether the implementation and the documentation do the same thing, or the documentation describes the current implementation, which is really a nice thing. So it doesn't mean that everything is correct. The developer first have to actually run this code and then manually verify that indeed this is the correct answer, and then put it here. And then once you have this manual verification, you can run the test again and again. Even if you are changing the implementation, it should return, say that everything is fine. So one of the things that I noticed here in this code, that for example, they're taking two integer numbers and converting them into strings using the bin function, which will put a 0 and a b at the beginning of the binary version of the number, and converting into a string, which I'm not sure that is really needed, but then they're taking off the first two characters because that's the 0b, and that's the binary implementation. There is a different way to do this using f strings, for example, or any of the printing, the formatting of strings in Python. But whatever, they chose this, and of course you can change it, and then you can use the verification. And here the rest of the implementation. Again, I didn't look at too deeply in this, because that wasn't really interesting. The nice thing here is that at the bottom you will see that in case this file is executed directly as a script, it will import the doctest and then run the doctest. So that's how it's being verified, and we can take a look at other implementations later on in a different video, but for now it's enough, and I hope that this helps a little bit in understanding both testing and looking at this project specifically. And so if you like the video, then please click on the like and follow the channel for further videos, and see you next time.